All I'm saying is, if you can't find the body, then there's no evidence. Hi, my name's Roger, and for the second time this week, I'm going to be digging up some graves, only on this occasion, in miniature format. Hello everybody, here we go again, and straight off the bat, let's build a coffin using some of these coffee sticks. Now, you may notice here that I've sped up some of my footage. I've taken previous feedback on board and tried to reduce some of these video times down by a little bit. So yeah, so assembling the coffins here, it hasn't got to be full, complete ones, just for remnants of one. You'll see why a little bit later on in the video. That's the coffin's built, and as you noticed, I use the coffee sticks that you get in, coffee shops. I'm saying coffee a lot. Just steal these, that's what I've been doing. I'm sure they'll never catch me, unless they watch this video. Foam and a big black marker, what's not to like? Of course, here I'm mapping out what I'm going to be cutting out soon with the housewife's favourite hot wire cutter. But for now, I need to put in some rough shapes of what's going to come out of this lovely foam block. And here we go. Isn't that satisfying? I must admit, it is. You see I've cut the 3 holes out here, just tidying them up, and now I need some bricks. So these are foam mats that I've got in my garage for when I work out. Need to trim these up into brick shapes, so rectangles really. Hasn't got to be too accurate. It's to represent an old wall, and when they built walls back in the day, I don't think they were that accurate. Yep, onto the PVA glue, every modeler's favourite friend, every modeler's best friend. Spread that out, get it in the rough area, and now quickly assemble these bricks, these foam bricks. There you go, there's one line down. Believe it or not, I was a builder in a previous life, but it didn't last very long. A few more bricks now, making this look ramshackled, and a bit more PVA glue, and a few more of these lovely foam bricks laid on top like I'm some sort of professional. One more, and a few more where they've tumbled down and broke. Now a bit of super glue, and stick in some of these Games Workshop sort of grave bits of decoration really. The super glue is actually melting the foam. Look at that. Oof. Now I need to spread some of this mud PVA mix into these holes, which will form the graves. Should have used should have used some bigger card there, but didn't. A bit more super glue. As you can see, it's melting the foam, and stick a bit more dirt on that. Let it all blend in, soak in, and generally look like it's been there for ages. And there is the rough model done. Not too bad, not too bad. Now let's stick some of these coffins in place now. Again, a bit of a dry fit, and then my favourite, super glue, get them stuck in place, and there is the coffins broken apart at the bottom of each grave. It's at this point I realised that I needed a bit more infill of dirt, so got out the old polyfiller and started slavering it in, and yeah, there we go. That's pretty much ready for painting now. Nice look at the top there, you can see where the graves have all sort of blended in with the super glued dirt. Put a few more sticks in bits of sort of rubbish in. Glue these sticks in here with a bit more mud. Make it all look like it's blended in. This white polyfiller stuff, put a bit of dirt on that so it doesn't look too harsh. Lovely. Bit more glue. Should get shares in it really, I use so much. That's the build pretty much done, and I did learn a good / harsh lesson from my previous build, which was, don't paint the bugger until you finish building it really. So now that I've finished building it, I'm going to paint the bugger. Let's get the spray paint out, spray it black, and then spray the inside white there, and that's all primed up, ready for the painting. Going to try a different technique this time, not use cheap paints, use decent paints, but water them down give it more of a glaze wash consistency and try and build up the layers from there. So various browns going in, load of wet blending going on, some of it's even intentional. More brown, should have used a bigger brush really, but hey, lessons learned. So again, more browned, blending it in using the same colours throughout, so from the inside of the graves to the top surface. A bit more washing going on here. It's a bit of blue, bit of green. And then blend that green into some of the scenery here, so walls, a bit of a blue wash on here, a bit strong, so I need to take some of that off. Trying to give it a bit of an old lived-in patina, is that the word? I don't think so. But yeah, you get the idea. Bit of a blue wash going on these bricks, try and tone them down a bit. Make them look a bit more grey. Back onto the scenery, a lovely green wash there. And a few dabs here and there. Bringing everything together. Hopefully it'll all blend in and look as one whole piece this time. Bit of that green on the walls now. Again, hopefully it will make it a bit more pleasing to the eye and blend it in with the Games Workshop scenery that I've already used. Bit more green here on the dirt and a bit more brown onto the coffins now. Give them a very light wash. Again, same there. Mixing it in, wet blending. Now onto the Games Workshop scenery. A light brown on all of this. And on this shield thing, already painted it silver, giving it a bit of a wash. More wash and green stuff on here. Now with dry brush, this saves all of us. Give it all a good dry brush. Once that's done, we can see what needs a bit more work. But in honesty, as I was doing this, I was thinking, it's looking all right. I probably don't need to do much more. So I don't think I did. So this is probably a pale sand dry brush and then a white dry brush over top of that. Again, trying to give it a bit of texture, bit of definition, bit of contrast. Insert anything else here which is appropriate. A few more tufts going in. Can't beat a tuft. Zombie time. Yeah, what time would zombie time be like? Midnight maybe? Or... yeah. Anyway, the miniatures I'm going to be using are the Games Workshop zombie range, the Dead Walker zombies. They're actually over there in a box, but it's way too far for me to go and get. So that's what I'm going to be using. I've already painted most of them in truth. I've done that over the last year or so. So if you want to see them, find me on Instagram. I've got one more to go, so I'm going to be using the contrast paints for that and do a little short video of how I paint it. It's not really a tutorial, it's more sort of how I do it really. So if you are interested, here's the video. Right then, let's get this one painted. As you can see, you've got contrast here. Slap it all on. Make this guy green. I'm not sure why zombies are green. Maybe it's something to do with toxic chemicals. If you've seen Return of the Living Dead 2, you'll know what I'm on about. So the green is now gone into an Alderi wash. I don't know, one of them. Wet blend that in. Down into the leg. Make his legs darker than the top of his body. I'm sure there's a reason for that. Now into a contrast brown on his slacks or trousers. Get it in, not being too neat here, just get it all on. He's a zombie, he's been underground for years. I'm sure a lot of his colours would have bled into each other. That's my excuse anyway. Now get his ribs in, just a bit of white there. You'll see why in a minute. And then a bit of white on his innards, his guts hanging out, and a bit more white there. That's a neat for me, makes a change. Standard silver, whatever that is on his sword. We'll stick a wash on that. A bit more brown of these tree things on his leg. And now paint these, what are they, chorizos hanging from his belt, or is it his guts? Paint them red, that's where the white really helps. The colour's a lot more vibrant. Bit of a wash on the old sword, that'll do. Bit of a tidying up, bit of brown now on his trousers. Very lightly here and there, just adds a bit of contrast. Touch more white back on his ribs. Whoa! Well, as my fifth wife once said to me, that was very quick. Lessons learned from my last video where I had a sort of 10-minute painting tutorial. I mean, to be honest, it bored the arse off me. So that one, I sped up a lot more, I think 400%, which is very fast. It gives you an idea of how I painted that zombie, mainly using the contrast paints. All that's left now is just to dry fit it to the diorama with the other ones, and if I'm happy, I will glue them in place. Right, now we've got the main painting bit done and the models all ready, we can now start dry fitting them and trying to work out the best place to put these guys. He sort of works there, maybe not. His foot doesn't quite work, it's hanging out. And that guy works well up there. He's flat-footed, so let's have him up at the corner. He fits very well there. He will go there, thank you very much. And oh, there's his good wife just behind him. What a lovely couple they were. He'll do there. And now on to a bit more effects on the wall. I'm using some of this snow stuff, which I wasn't really using the right applicator, so I started using my finger. If in doubt, use your finger. So get this on the wall. Wanted to try and have a winter feel to it. There's a bit more drugs being put down. I need to spread that out a bit. Honestly, that is my finger. Yeah, and he's spreading it a bit more. There we go. That looks a little bit more like it's treading. Bit more there. Get your finger on it if you're not sure. Wiggle it about. I'm talking about snow now, of course. Now I know we all love a tip, a top tip, and here's mine. When I'm out in the charity shops or thrift shops or garage yard sales, if you're in America, maybe, I buy cheap frames. Most of the time I got pretty crap artwork in as well. But these make great bases for my dioramas and models. Now, I know a purist might say, no, your diorama should be its own base and you make the diorama and then you make the base to fit. But I'm not a purist. So yeah, I can get some good frames. You can get some good frames. Very cheap as well, like £2 or $2 or I don't know, 1,000 yen is it or something? But I'd recommend having a look next time you're out in a shop and just stockpile them. That's what I do. Okay, on the home stretch now, so let's get this cheapo frame sprayed up black. Get it all on. No messing around here. I'm in the greenhouse, so it doesn't matter. That's a backdrop I painted. It's on Instagram. It's on a reel if you want to see it. Okay, here's the actual model. Get a bit of glue on this now. Slap it all on. Get some on the back of that model. And once there's enough on there, a bit more please. Let's stick it in place. We're not a million miles away now. Just a few touch-ups here and there with the paint. Hold that in place. That guy fell out, so you need to stick him back in. And yeah, just a few more final details, a few bits that need touching up with a paintbrush. Here I am, touching up with a paintbrush. But I think we're pretty much there. Well, as you know, I don't like to brag, but I'm certainly very happy with that one. It's definitely the best one I've done, and well, only the second one I've done in truth. But yeah, I'm very happy. I hope you like it too. It's now going to take pride of place on a wall in here, or maybe even the toilet. All that's left now is the final reveal.